Welcome back to Texas Cooking Today. Usually I have a plate of food to show you at this part of the show. Well, this time I don't. But there are some clips about how to make a special barbecue sauce just to come. So stick around, watch this. It's going to blow your mind. You're really going to enjoy it. Some great barbecue sauce. Hello. Welcome back to Texas Cooking Today. A couple of weeks ago, I came in this kitchen and prepared a dish, well, that is now titled on the web as barbecued ribs and barbecue sauce. And when I was doing that, I decided I was going to abandon any other methods of sauce making that I had ever done for barbecue sauce, but instead start with a fresh perspective. And so what I did on that video was to create, right in front of you, for the very first time I had ever created it, a barbecue sauce. Well, I didn't expect it to come out as good as it came out. It was unbelievably good. And so I thought it was necessary to take those clips, put them together, and we're going to do just a show on barbecue sauce, just that. And you're going to find out a whole new way of making it. No tomatoes involved. It involves only dried chilies. Don't shy away from this. Once you learn how to do this, your barbecue sauce will change forever. This is now going to be part of my permanent recipes collection. I never thought I would produce a barbecue sauce that tasted that good. And this one, it really is. It's remarkable in its flavor, the texture, everything about it is so absolutely perfect. So give this sauce a try, and I'm sure you're going to like it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Now we need to prepare our chilies for making a sauce. To work on a dry chili like this, you need to first get water inside of it to rehydrate it. So I'm just going to cut a simple slit in the chili there. Okay? And then drop it down in the water. I'm going to do that with each one. Let's get good close there. There we go. See that? You can hear the seeds rattling. And these little dry, thin things produce a surprising amount of pulp. Here is our chipotles. Now these are going to be neat because they're going to add a smoky flavor to the sauce. I'm going to have smoked ribs, but I'm going to have a sauce with a smoky flavor. And of course, our little tiny chilies here. I'm just going to put these down on the board, put my knife tip against them, and make a tiny slit in each one. There we are. Now I have all of the chilies in hot water. You don't have to boil water for this or anything. Just plain hot tap water will do. Now to get my chilies to sit down here a little further, I'm going to put another bowl on top of this, and that actually will help to speed the hydration process because it forces all of the chili down under water where the whole thing can hydrate. There we go. Now that bowl will simply push down on the chilies, and we're going to need to give these anywhere from 45 minutes to hour and a half probably to rehydrate. We have our chilies that have been setting aside for about an hour. Let's open this up. Take a look. Now, these right here, these wonderful chilies that everybody loves, these chipotles, have a tendency to feel really leathery and dry on the outside. They don't soften easily on the outside. However, the pulp on the inside is getting quite mushy. Exactly what I'm looking for. These little hot things, they're getting mushy too. And this also. However, I'm going to just turn them all over. We're going to keep soaking these. They need a little more time. They need to get just a slight bit softer. Our chilies have now become nice and plump. Pumped up really well. They look really good. So I'm going to take these, I'm going to start putting them into a food mill. Food mill is a real simple item. If you don't already have one, there's a strainer on the bottom, and this comes with different sizes of plates, different sizes of holes. and a paddle on the inside that is just high on one side, low on the other, and it's spring loaded, so it forces the food down through that sieve. And of course you need a bowl to catch whatever in. These things are not expensive. You should be able to find one of these for anywhere from $30 to $100. The $100 ones are very fancy items, but they aren't necessary. So let's go ahead and take our chilies. I want to remove the seed pod from the top. Take one of the splits and just split it up to the top and pull that crown out. Now, you don't actually have to wash the seeds out of this, but it is helpful to remove some of them. The food mill will get clogged up with those if you use too many of them. And it really depends on your food mill. Some food mills don't do it as much, others do it a lot. On these little arboles, stick them right down in there. They're going to provide a lot of heat, a very interesting flavor additive also. If you don't have a food mill at this time and you still want to do this, quite simple. Take a spoon, after you've removed the crown, open up the skin, and then after you wash the seeds out, use that spoon to just scrape the pulp right off of the skin. It would be smart to put that pulp in something that will handle the fibers real well, like either a blender or a food processor if you happen to have one of those. Something like that will chop it up. Otherwise, put it under a knife and go at it for a little while. Wow, all for the love of a good sauce. Now, if you're thinking that looks like a lot of extra work and you don't want to mess with that, well, in this case it really isn't a lot of work. They do make an electric version of the same thing, but they're kind of hard to find. And look how much paste we're yielding already, and I've just started. So it's doing just fine. Don't be discouraged. I think I'm going to put some more chilies down in there. Need some chipotle. The water, everything over here smells kind of smoky, and it's all from this one chili. It imparts a wonderful smoky flavor into any sauce that you do. And it's a good natural way to get that smoky flavor. You don't have to add like liquid smoke or anything like that. This looks like it's a bit messy, and it is just slightly, but it's not a major deal. If you spend any time at all in the kitchen, you know occasionally messes get made. Right now, I've got a bunch of skins down in here, and it's removed the pulp from them really well, but I still go ahead and push them down just to remove anything extra that it might have. Turn that up, let me see. Handling action. And it is just falling off the bottom of this now. Okay, go ahead and feed in the rest of those chilies. Wash. This is going to make quite a bit of sauce. Now, if you are really sensitive to chili pepper, then what you might want to do is to put something on your hands, like some gloves. I've been working with these things for so long, they don't bother me at all. I handle them barehanded, except for the really hot ones, like if I were using a habanero, yes, I would be wearing gloves. And that capsaicin is very hard to wash off. I'm pushing down slightly with my paddle. Food meal has a tendency to do is, as it strips the skins dry, it just pushes them up onto the side. There you go. And I'm not going to fight to get any more pulp out of these chilies, because it looks like I've got enough for a good starter base. Okay. There we go. I've got about what looks like a half a cup of chili paste there. Now we're going to turn this into a sauce. Let's see what's next. I forgot one important ingredient for my sauce, and that was a little clove of garlic. So I'm going to take that, give it a smash. Let's go ahead and mince it. I don't want to fine mince it. There we are. Now I can go ahead and put that down in the sauce, and it won't stand out very much because it is fine minced. Let me introduce you to what we're going to be doing with our sauce here, to our ingredients. Of course, you're already familiar with our chili paste and the minced garlic that I've just put in there. We also have some salt. I might be using some bourbon. It'll depend on what it tastes like once I get it cooked up with these other stuff. I believe I'm going to want some cumin in that. It gives me sort of a dry, earthy flavor. It's really nice for a barbecue sauce. And of course, something to perk it up, make it a little more fruity, it'll be the lime juice. Something to sweeten it up is going to be our brown sugar. And right here, in order to hydrate these chilies, you're going to have to use some sort of liquid. So the liquid I have chosen today is going to be chicken stock. Now let's go ahead over to our pan right here. Let's take our chili paste. I'm just going to scoop that right out of there, right down into our pan. Nice thing about working with these silicone spatulas, they are very good at picking up what's left in the pan. They can also resist quite a bit of heat. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and start adding in just a little bit of this moisture. Get it mixed in there. Now, frankly, I don't like to use a spatula to cook with or to stir with. In this case, I'm simply using it because that was what I already had, and it had some on it, and I wanted to clean it off. Okay. Normally, when I'm working with the sauce, I like to use a medium small whisk, just like this. Now, different whisks for different things. They have whisks with real thin wires and whisks with real thick wire. The thick wire is for working heavier items, much more dense items. The thin ones are for quick mixing thinner items, and this is a good example of that. I'm going to add just a little more of that. There we go. I'm not going to worry if it's a little thin to begin with. There we are. And that chili paste will take in moisture real nice. Now, let's go ahead and put a flame under this. I'm going to start it on a medium-high flame to begin with. Let's go ahead and add in some of our salt. There we go. Now, when I do a pinch, I can use small like that. That's right there, about a 1/4 teaspoon. If I use 3 fingers, that's about a 1/2 teaspoon. If I grab it up in a big heap with 4, that's closer to a teaspoon or more, okay? So, and I've learned this over time. It came with a lot of practice and with experimenting with what works. So I want to use 3 fingers and get about a 1/2 teaspoon of salt right down in there. I'm going to go ahead and put some of my lime juice in. I'm going to hit it with just a little bit of the cumin. There we go. I would say I put in maybe a 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon right there. Stir that in. It's going to come up to temperature really quick, and when it does, I'm going to put a lid on it and we're going to let it just cook down into a nice sauce. Now, I have some of the brown sugar here. Let's go ahead and kind of break that apart and just crumble it down in there. And we'll use maybe 1/3 of that. So we got about 1/3 of a cup right down in our sauce right now. Now, you know, normally you would have tomato paste in here or tomato sauce, and then you'd be adding in a whole bunch of chili powders and maybe some cayenne or also some paprika, all kinds of different things that you'd be putting into it. Here we just started with that base flavor as chili, rather than trying to turn something else into a chili flavor. Okay, I just need this to come up to a light boil, and we are ready to cover it and let it simmer for a while. It is time for us to check our chili and see how it is doing, our chili sauce here. Now, I'll start calling it barbecue sauce, shouldn't I? Okay, it looks a bit thick on the bottom. Of course, some of the liquid separates from cooking and the solids drop to the bottom a little more. Okay. Now, what you want to do after about 10 minutes of cooking on this, go ahead and put a spoon in here. Get a little bit of a taste of it so that you can judge whether or not you need to add this, that, or the other. Actually, ooh, that's hot. It's got quite a bite to it. Those arbol chilies really kicked in. Okay, so this is going to be a spicy whiz-bang of a sauce. It does need a little bit more acid in it, so it's going to get it. The sweetness is really nice on it. It's good and sweet, but not too sweet. I might add in just a little bit more sugar, but no more than maybe a tablespoonful. Right there. And I will thin it just a little bit more. And we're going to use that bourbon I was talking about earlier. We'll put in there about 1/3 of a cup, 1/4 to 1/3. That's really going to change the profile of that. Here we have a beautiful barbecue sauce. Hey, it's good to see that you stuck around this far through the video. Watch the next clip. It's going to show you how to use this on the meat, how to properly paint it on, and make sure you don't put it on the meat too early. It just needs to caramelize a little at the end, and that's all. Never paint it on early. Otherwise you won't get the smoke in the meat, and, well, your ribs won't come out very good. Or whatever it is you're barbecuing. Good luck, and happy cooking. I've had my ribs standing on end for just a moment while I finished them up with a final heavy smoking. Got that good red color all over them. Now, I'm going to turn these backside up to start. And you remember that sauce that we made? That heavenly looking sauce. I do. Look at that. Now, I want a good wide application on this, so I'm going to pull that back. I'm going to pour some of that sauce right in the middle. This stuff is potent. It's not going to take a lot. Just going to work it out. Now, why don't you put this on from the beginning? Well, because it's not going to cook into the meat. It'll only set up on the top and caramelize. If it over caramelizes, you get that burnt flavor. It just kind of ruins it. So, you want to hit your meat with the sauce at the end, okay? If you're going to cook sauce onto it. Just gently mop the sauce over it. You'll have to do this only once. Now, to help this to set up and that sauce to caramelize, and for this just to finish off, and it's only going to take about another 10 minutes, let's take that rib rack and I want to place it right up on that top grate. Just like so. There we go. It's going to give it good heat, good smoke. It'll come out nice. Well, we have pulled those ribs up off of the grill. They look absolutely beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and remove this rack from the pan. Before I do, notice how far those ribs are protruding, how the bone is sticking out now. It's very obvious that that's one of the best ways you can tell whether this is done or not. It makes it real obvious. Okay, we're going to cut these down into some ribs. And I have given this just enough time to rest. About 10 to 15 minutes is a good resting point. Now, let's take a look at what we have here. That is just gorgeous looking. I can't wait to dig into these. Oh, they do look good. There we have it. Beautiful pork spare ribs. Smoked with a little bit of sauce over them. That's the right way to do it. Now that is barbecue sauce. Hey, if you like this video, please subscribe to Texas Cooking Today. And let me know what you think. Give it a try, and write back, tell me how it worked out for you. Thank you for trying Texas Cooking Today, and until next time, happy eating.